Morning, Damian. Welcome to Founders Tales. Do you want to give everybody a quick introduction to yourself and your company, Sherpa?
Yeah, happy to be here, Chris. Thank you for the time. My name is Damian O'Farrill. I am the CEO and founder of Sherpa. Sherpa is your main place to create your ideal customer profile using machine learning, data science, and the word that is in everybody's mouth these days, AI.
Yeah, I have heard that mentioned a few times recently. What particular problem first sparked the idea for the business?
So we had a consulting firm, and every time we went to help clients with their AI implementation, their data science, there were three things that we came across. Customers were asking us to build account scoring models of identify which ones are my best accounts that I can make the most money off. The second one was help me segment my customers in a way that makes sense. There's a lot of data out there right now. We're generating millions and gazillions points of information. So it's really hard to pinpoint which clusters of companies, prospects, companies should be going after. And the third one was build me a lead scoring model so we can be more efficient. And those three things kept on appearing in all of our consulting engagements. So we decided to package those up and create a way in which companies can easily take that information and start using it, specifically in the mid-market and SMB space, because larger companies, they have teams like I've built before, large data science organizations, large machine learning teams that are doing this in-house or are able to articulate this in-house. But where I see this AI word coming in to really change the way people work is in the smaller businesses. I think AI might be that well-applied AI might be that technology and that structure in which smaller companies can start competing with the larger players. So we're looking to help those mid-market companies scale better in their analytics journey.
Yeah, brilliant. And how does your current MVP look compared to your first version?
I tell this story a lot because in the time that we built Sherpa, we've been in stealth. We were in stealth for 4 months. We launched an MVP right at the same time that OpenAI opened up ChatGPT and it started to get a lot of adoption. So we had to very quickly pivot our way of displaying the information from being very rule driven and clicks and to be much more of a chat experience. And very quickly, we also realized, you know what, this is not working for our customers in the workflow. So we had to do a hybrid approach. And even behind the scenes, a lot of the technology has advanced so fast that we've changed. I can tell you that in the past 4 months, we've changed much faster the way we think about scoring accounts, building segments, and helping our customers. We've changed more times in the past 3 months than in the past 8 months. It's so fast. The speed of change has been ridiculously fast.
Bit of a roller coaster.
Every day, and I enjoy it terribly.
So reflecting, what's been your biggest oh shit moment that you've had, and how did you handle dealing with that?
You know, I think with entrepreneurship, you have many of those. What is the most difficult part at times for me is when should you put your blinders on and say, hey, this is the vision, and no matter if a day went bad or you lost a client or there was bad feedback on the product, when do you put your blinders on and say, we're staying in the same course, we're staying in the same direction, as opposed to hearing from your advisors, from your product advisory board, and deciding where to pivot. I think that more than a aha moment itself, it has been that battle with oneself and with the team, with what my co-founder of when do we need to just be hyper focused on the vision as opposed to, hey, the market is telling us something different, so we need to switch. That is a hard thing.
Yeah, basically having that open-mindedness to others.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we build the product, we are hyper focused on what our users are telling us. I think the challenge, especially with how fast things are changing, is you have customers telling you what they want and what they need, and then you have technologies shifting very, very fast as well. So do you apply the latest technology that's probably unproven and you don't know if it's going to pan out just because it's the new thing and this fear of missing out? Or do you listen to your customers that they need something much more fundamental and basic and it's not as shiny? That is a hard decision to make for, I think, everybody that's building a product these days.
Yeah, brilliant. And what's a lesson that you've learned from building Sherpa that you didn't pick up from, a textbook or academia or somewhere else?
How important is it for people to know how to sell, really? My background is in data science. My co-founder's background is in data science. We've both been in the space helping sales, marketing, customer success teams for a long, long time. So we understand the motions. However, I think a lot of people, especially in the data science and data spaces, are much more comfortable with spreadsheets and being behind the code. And one, I realized I really love to go there and meeting prospects and doing cold outreach and sell. And I don't think that's something that can be taught. I have been very lucky that I've been working with sales teams and salespeople and sales executives that are really good at this craft, and I've picked up some of their success style. So I was not expecting to find myself in a position in which I'm really looking forward to make a sell call or a cold call or pick up the phone. That's something that I don't think a textbook can give you.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, you see, certainly grown through doing that, which is great. And so I know you've got quite a lean team, but is there a particular position that you've tried to hire for already that was very difficult to find the right person?
I think this is another one of those shifting landscapes. We had a nearshore team in Mexico. We had an offshore team in India. We had a small team in Spain. So I've experienced different ways of hiring technical talent, both from my corporate and now in the startup world. I think there's always a challenge to hire technical folks in the data space. I think right now, data engineer might be one of the hardest things to find because of the breadth of what a data engineer is. Sometimes I was chatting with somebody yesterday about this. He was hiring to a company to be a data engineer, and they are asking him to do software engineering things. And I think right now it's a very difficult time for data people because you need to know so much. You need to know patterns, you need to know software engineering, you need to know analytics, you need to know statistics, you need to know a little bit of machine learning. So data engineers still right now, I think a couple of months ago, somebody was saying, oh, this is the death of data engineer with this AI stuff coming up. Don't think so. I think data engineers is one of the hardest things that we can find right now. And the second one is actually what I would label a business analyst with AI expertise of there is the need of what's out there putting out a word like GTM engineers. They know workflows, so they know tools, so they know how to plug them in. That's another hard skill to have because you need the subject matter expert, you need the knowledge of a tool or a couple of tools, and you need to understand process and the people. So those two roles, I think, have been extremely hard to find.
Yeah, very interesting points. And so when you are hiring, how do you personally try and spot startup DNA in candidates that you're talking to?
Where I have had the most success in our nearshore strategy has been finding people that are willing to go and do research, not just execute. I think especially at this stage in the type of technologies that we are building, in the type of models that we're building, in the type of agents that we are building, there are no defined patterns. There are best practices that we've been adjusting from years before. I like to say that I was doing AI before AI was cool, and it's only kind of true, right? Because we were doing a lot of these techniques that we were applying in AI. Now we were doing it 10 years ago, but now the speed and the way it works has changed a little bit. So the curiosity of trying to find out, well, what works? What of the best things in the past of the best practice can I apply, which is the baseline? And then can I find a ingenious way to apply the new thing in a way that can work, can fit the problem without this idea of, well, this is a hammer, so I'm going to use the hammer to hit every nail.
Yeah, makes sense. And I know you've lived on the West Coast previously, so what advantages or difficulties do you see when it comes to building in Boston versus maybe San Francisco or New York?
In the time zones here in the East Coast, I find them a lot more agreeable to work with offshore teams in Europe, in talent hubs in Europe and in Africa. So those are the two places in which I think the time zones are extremely helpful to just work with those teams. The access to talent that we have, us having a co-founder in Barcelona, makes the rest of the world available for us. In the West Coast, it was that just the time zone is a little bit more difficult, right? That those 3 hours that are the difference that we have between the East Coast of the US and the West Coast of the US really make a difference for the type of coordination, collaboration that is required at a startup level. Even with, it's a remote team, right? So innately you need to think about, well, are we staying up? Are we staying late? While in the East Coast, the meetings are easier to have, our daily stand-ups are more cohesive. So definitely there is something like that. And in the West Coast, I was thinking much more about Latin America, which is much friendlier time zone than Europe. So, it's a trade-off. I think that the talent is everywhere. I found very good talent both in Africa and Latin America and in Europe.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, there's a natural overlap, isn't there, from the East Coast to Europe, whereas 9 hours on the West Coast, that does make quite a significant difference in terms of trying to schedule that overlap on across the team, right? Cool. And then staying on Boston, how do you feel the Boston startup community can better support early stage founders like yourself?
It's very different than in San Francisco. In San Francisco, you go to happy hours and you meet VCs all the time. You meet the tech people. Everybody's building a startup. Here, it's more they are more talking about finance and healthcare. So I have found like the access to capital seems easier in San Francisco. Not that it is easier, but it seems easier because you're talking about it all the time. Well, as in the Boston area, well, there's a more diverse set of conversations that happen when you go to a happy hour, from the Patriots and the Red Sox, which are the football and the baseball team, to finance and healthcare, as opposed to just pure startup tech world of how we're going to apply the next AI model for public consumption. The difference.
Yeah, Bostonians love their sports teams.
They really do. They really do. Much than most every other place that I've lived in, I feel the sports vibe much intense here.
Yeah, I like the passion around it. Cool. So, reflecting, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received from another founder over the years?
I have two. One of our advisors, he been helping to shape the our pitch deck all the time. Every time we go and pitch, he comes back and he gives us some feedback. He has helped us a lot to refine the messaging of, this is your pitch deck that is going to get you funding. You don't need to make it overly complex. You need to make the message simple. We are tech people, like me and my co-founder, right? So we talk of technicalities all the time. And his recommendation was, move away from the technology. Make sure that you have a cohesive one sentence, what you do really good, and then tell the story of what problem you're trying to solve right now at the moment. And that has been extremely helpful to think about, how do we overcome the tech talk that we speak like a human. He does speak like a human, so that has been really helpful. Now, the second one is the vision part. Another one of our advisors, he is the person that keeps us accountable with a vision of, you have a vision, pursue that vision. This is a problem that we all have. Go and keep on executing, put away the noise, and iterate fast.
Yeah, very useful to have that kind of external insight, kind of help you guys kind of stay on the right track, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that as a founder, times it's a lonely road, right? Because you're there trying to make things happen, and sometimes it's your will. It's the will of one founder or the founders to make things happen. And the support structure, it's important to have your advisors and your customers and your people around you supporting you in making you understand that you're not alone. There's a whole slew of people helping you out.
Yeah, and when you're in the trenches every day, sometimes it's hard to see the wood through the trees, right? So getting some outside perspective from people that aren't is often really useful, isn't it? Cool. And then finally, Damian, how do you personally stay sane when it comes to dealing with all the highs and lows that you naturally get when you're building your own startup?
I go to nature. I never thought I would say this because I am naturally not a person that goes outside. I like inside. In good, outside bad. But what I found over the past year is that going to a forest, going to nature, feeling the natural world has really helped me go through the very highs and lows. And looking at the tree, hugging a tree, sharing that energy with my dogs, staying with my partner. Whenever we go to the forest, she and I, we just feel energized. So that is how every day is a high and then every day is a low. It's really what you just mentioned. It's really a roller coaster. I never know if in the morning I'm going to be super excited because we landed a client, and in the afternoon I'm going to be super upset because something broke, right? So finding that space, 1 hour, 1.5 hours to go out there and be in nature has really, really helped.
So outside now good?
Outside is good selectively.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Thanks very much for joining today. I mean, that was insightful. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, Chris. Happy to be here. I appreciate it.